Hi everybody, and welcome to this video which covers the personal differences in learning. This is part of the Psychology of Learning topic for Stage 2 Psychology. Let's get started. So in general, any relatively enduring change in either our potential to behave in particular ways or our knowledge that results from experience is known as learning. So whilst we know that there are three universal ways which humans learn, classical conditioning, operant conditioning, and observational learning, there are also personal differences in the way we learn, including learning rates, strengths, and weaknesses. People also learn through instruction. So this is the type of learning that you are exposed to every day at school, whether it is a deliberate intention to teach a new skill, piece of knowledge, or behaviour. So just like no two people are the same, no two ways in how we learn or the way we learn is the same. So let's look at these personal differences in more detail. So personal differences in the way we learn include personal characteristics, academic characteristics, social or emotional characteristics, and cognitive characteristics. So personal characteristics often relate to demographic information, such as age, gender, personality, maturity, socioeconomic status, cultural background, and specific needs of a learner, such as particular skills and disabilities for and/or impairments to learning. Academic characteristics focus more on education and are learning related, such as learning styles, learning goals of an individual or a group, prior knowledge, education type, and educational level. Social or emotional characteristics relate to the group or to the individual. Examples of social or emotional characteristics are group structure, place of the individual within a group, motivation, and self-image. Also feelings of self-efficacy and agency. Also included is general mood. Cognitive characteristics relate to such things as attention span, memory, mental procedures, and intellectual skills, which determine how the learner perceives, remembers, thinks, solves problems, organizes, and represents their information in his, her, or their brain. Let's revisit cognitive behavior therapy. As we know, CBT can be used to treat anxiety, depression, and phobias. CBT has theoretical foundations in classical conditioning, operant conditioning, and observational learning. So CBT views problematic behavior as fundamentally learned. It is therefore makes sense that undesired behaviors can be unlearned, and desired behavior, such as new replacement skills, can be learned in their place. It is important that therapists tailor the treatment to each client's needs, as these may vary depending on the diagnosis, the age, the willingness to learn, their personality, and their diagnosis, much the same as we now know about how people learn differently. So we must take into account the personal differences not only in the way in which we learn, but also how we deliver CBT. Any tools, templates, worksheets, diaries, and strategies for assisting clients with CBT need to be considered, because there is no one strategy that suits all clients equally. We also need to cover learned helplessness. So this results when a person or animal is prevented repeatedly from avoiding some aversive stimulus and becomes passive and depressed. The main researcher was Martin Seligman in the 1970s. So he conducted infamous research on dogs where they were continuously exposed to electric shocks that were unavoidable through the floor of a box, similar to this. Eventually, the dogs were given the opportunity to escape the shocks by jumping over a barrier. However, most dogs did not and simply lay down and took the shocks. So Seligman argued that the dogs had learnt to be helpless, and similar observations in humans who have depression also mimic learned helplessness in terms of reduced motivation. So learned helplessness is a learned behavior. However, going back to my previous slide, the good news is that through CBT and other forms of therapy, learned helplessness can be unlearned, with more productive and beneficial behaviours learnt in its place. So I hope you found this video useful. As always, if you've got any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, happy revising!